There's something uniquely terrifying about a home that isn't what it seems. A house is supposed to be a refuge. 4 walls, a lock on the door, the place you close out the world. But some homes keep a secret in their bones. Some homes were never empty. And tonight, I'm going to share 3 stories told by the people who lived them about homes that weren't what they seemed. Homes where things moved without hands, where the people inside learned they were never really alone. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from, because tonight's stories share one thing in common. They all begin in places that looked completely ordinary. And that's what makes them so difficult to escape. The terror never announces itself. It waits, patient and relentless, for you to make that one fatal mistake, deciding to stay. Our first story comes from a man who grew up in a house built in the mid-1870s. He was barely 2 when his mother first noticed something wrong. It was winter, and the home was heated by a single wood stove. One night, a sound woke her, a single footstep. She opened her eyes to see a small figure, less than 3 feet tall, standing beside the burning stove. She thought it was her daughter. She told it to go back to bed. The figure pressed closer to the flames, close enough that a child would have burned. Alarmed, she reached for the lamp, and in that instant, the figure vanished, slipped beneath the stove, into the floor itself. That was only the beginning. As the children grew, they heard footsteps in the hall, whispering voices, never clear enough to understand a single word. And when the young man was home alone, he would hear music rising from beneath the house, and then a voice calling his name. He never told his family. He just sat on the front steps in the cold, waiting until someone came home, because whatever lived beneath that house knew his name, and it wanted him to know it was listening. These are the stories of what lives in the spaces we think are safe. But before we continue, I want you to think about your own home, the doors you close every night, the ones that always behave. Our second story takes us to an old farmhouse built in 1890. A man who grew up there describes a basement door that would not stay shut, not a draft, not a loose latch. This door had a deadbolt, a heavy steel bolt slid firmly across, and still, the door would swing open on its own. He said he stopped trying to explain it after the 3rd time. That's the quiet horror of these houses, isn't it? At a certain point, the mind gives up looking for reasons, because the reasons don't exist. There is only the door, and the darkness behind it, and the certainty that something on the other side wants it open. But the next story is different, because in this story, the door didn't swing open from force. It was opened, deliberately, gently, by something that knew exactly how a doorknob worked. This account was shared by a man who grew up alongside his best friend, a friend who lived in a 4-generation house where every generation had been born and every generation had died. The friend had long since grown used to strange noises, footsteps in the hallway, movement in the attic, generations of his people, he said. What was there to fear? But one night, at roughly 3 in the morning, the friend woke with a strange feeling, and as he lay there in the dark, he watched his bedroom door. It had a lever handle, the kind you push down, not twist, and in the stillness of that hour, the lever pressed down on its own, slowly, deliberately, and the door swung open. His friend shrugged it off. Generational home, he said, but the man telling the story never felt the same about staying over. These are the questions that may never be answered, but these homes deserve to be remembered. If one of these stories got under your skin, drop a comment and tell me which one. And subscribe, because there are more stories waiting in the quiet houses. Good night and sleep well.